All right. Listen, Eitan is onto something right now. We're already just getting into legal matters because it's time for another edition of our new Wednesday feature where we focus on the unconventional side of the law, and we're calling it So Now What? And we're joined once again by our expert in law, and he's also director at Legalise.co.za, Eitan Stern.
Well, listen, one of our Expresso members, their family, in fact, their parents have a really annoying neighbor who always flies their drone over their property. So not only is this driving them insane, that little zzz sound that's constantly going with the drone, but it also feels like a gross invasion of their privacy. And the parents are at their wits' end. And the question we're asking, so now what?
So now what?
Yeah, welcome back, man. Great to have you
you
here, and always fascinating to delve into these kind of conversations with you. So, when it comes to flying drones, in this particular scenario, what are the laws that govern how, when, why, what?
Cool. So drones are actually governed under aviation law. The only difference, according to the law, between a drone and a Boeing 747 is the fact that the Boeing 747 has a pilot in it and the drone has a pilot on the ground. But there are laws, it is governed by the same body of aviation law.
That's incredible to know that. I mean, you think the size doesn't really matter, but because, I mean, there's a whole bunch to be considered, especially in terms of the invasion of privacy, which we'll get into very shortly.
But also the thing about drones is it's so easily accessible, whereas I'm thinking now aviation law, you know, it's generally your pilots, your passengers. You would think it's so if I have been basically been given a drone, am I allowed to just fly it anywhere? Surely there should be some rules in place.
Yeah, so there definitely are rules in place. So, you know, just the same as when you can buy a car from the shop, but you can only drive it if you have a license, you know, and you can only drive it according to the rules of the road. The same with drones or airplanes, we have the rules of the air. So if you've been given a drone for Christmas or bought one, then you need to know these rules of the air. And they're things like you can't fly within 50 meters of other people. You can't fly within 50 meters of buildings or roads. You can't fly within 2,000 feet of national parks. So you're not allowed to fly it on Table Mountain or on Lion's Head. You can't fly it in around national parks. And you're not allowed to fly at night. You're not allowed to fly what we call beyond visual line of sight, so you always need to see it.
Yeah.
So it's really important if you've got a drone to know these rules, just as the same as it is important if you've got a car to know what you can and can't do with it.
Some people out there might be looking at it and going, well, man, these things are basically just like toys, man. Why do we have to have all these rules?
Yeah, so I mean, if you think about it, brutal fruit looks like a child's juice, but we don't give it to children either, you know? These things, drones, while they look like toys, they're really not. They're quite powerful machines, and they can, you know, a drone can fly within the same airspace as a Boeing 747.
That high up.
For sure, and you know, planes when they do emergency procedures are flying within the same range as a drone. Or if you look off Clifton Beach, there's going to be helicopters flying around with tourists. Now, if you've got a drone up there and there's a collision, people are going to get hurt. You know, also drones, they've got cameras on them, so they can fly, you know, around people's property. So while these things look like toys, they're not exactly toys.
Yeah.
They're quite powerful. And, you know, the only reason we think they're safe is just because nothing's gone wrong. But if you think about it, we used to smoke on airplanes in the 90s, you know? Well, not we, but people used to. They used to think that...
I remember that time.
They used to think that was safe, you know? So, you know, and these things do need to be regulated because they're quite powerful machines.
Yeah.
So what is the current punishment at the moment for flying a drone? I mean, we had it, was it Gatwick Airport? Not too long ago, where thousands of airplanes and tourists got stranded because of a drone. Yeah, so
in South Africa, the punishment is up to 2 years in prison or 160,000 Rand fine if you're caught flying a drone, you know, in contravention of the regulations. And that's if nothing goes wrong. So, you know, if they had caught this guy or girl who was flying a drone around Gatwick Airport, which shut down an international airport around Christmas season, that person could have gotten a lot of trouble because they caused a lot of damage to a lot of people. You know, and let's say you are flying your drone that collides with a helicopter doing its scenic route and someone dies, you're going to be potentially liable for murder or homicide, or culpable homicide. So, you know, it's really important to kind of know what you're doing with these things.
Yeah. You know, a lot of parents are trying to equip their kids for the future. So you know, a cool thing is to get your child a drone because they can develop a certain kind of skill set that could future-proof their career in some way or form.
It's fantastic.
When do you need to get your license then? So if you're going to be getting it for your child,
Yeah.
Let's start there, or even just for yourself. When is it necessary to get a license?
Okay, so it's a great question, and drones are a brilliant career path, because the other thing about drones, you don't need a matric exemption to become a drone pilot. So if drones start to be used in society, you've got a whole new industry which can employ people. So when do you need to get a drone license? It's when you're using it for commercial use of any nature. So if you're getting paid to fly it, or if you're flying for your business, then you need not just a license, but what they call an operator certificate. And then you apply to the CAA, the Aviation Authority, and what they do is you get an operator's manual, and that says all the things you can do with it. And if, according to the operator's manual, you can fly over roads and over buildings, then you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So if you're using it commercially for use in any way, you need a license. And if you don't have a license, you can still fly privately, but then not in 50 meters of people, not at night, not in 50 meters of roads, etc.
Line of sight.
Where can you fly it? That's the
Well,
question.
I guess the important thing now is that you need to educate yourself. If you are going to be getting such an expensive toy, because drones don't come cheap,
No.
you need to do your research to find out what are the legal boundaries, especially with the invasion of property, of privacy. And you were talking about flying out of line of sight. You don't want to be losing it and then causing yourself damage or somebody else damage that could land you in a whole lot of trouble. So that is what now? Thanks, Eitan.
Only a pleasure.